anytime at starvrock.media.
In the 72 days since the Carus fire and explosion, have you heard one word from the alderman in Ward 2 of LaSalle, who represents that neighborhood, advocating for the residents of his ward?
No, and I live in that ward.
Jerry Reynolds.
Jerry Reynolds.
Jerry Reynolds is the alderman. In case you didn't know, you're like, hey, I don't even know who it is. You wouldn't. Now, Jeff Grove's been taking a lot of heat for, siding with Inga, being Inga's boy on this whole Carus fire thing. He deserves it, okay? But he doesn't represent that ward. That ward is represented by Jerry Reynolds, who's in a race against Amy Luth. Now, full disclosure, I have never met Amy Luth. If Amy Luth came up and slapped me on the street, I wouldn't know it was her, okay?
It could be anybody.
So I don't have a dog in this race.
I hear you.
All I know is this, that there's an alderman representing that ward, and in 72 days, I have not heard word one from the guy whose job it is to be the liaison between CL and their supposed redevelopment projects downtown and the city.
Right, and he's only been communicating one way, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
He's not representing the city to CL. He's taking CL's demands back to the city.
So I want to hear from you, if you are in his ward, if there's something that he's doing on your behalf that I don't know about, set me straight, okay? Otherwise, wouldn't you like it, or don't you think you are owed representation by the alderman in Ward 2 when it comes to cleaning up this mess or getting tested or whatnot?
Well, his opponent hasn't done anything either, to be fair. I mean, neither candidate has been out there.
I haven't heard from him.
Both of them should have been out there by now. They're both wrong for not being out there.
So, call me, text me, 815-223-3093. Special Agent Jamie on standby on the WLPO Live line. You'll hear him next.
If you own a business, does it sometimes feel like all the paperwork is managing you instead of you managing it? Monthly sales reports, expense reports, quarterly and end-of-year reports. If you own a business, these are the things that keep you up at night. How about spending more time managing your business instead of the paperwork? Hi, I'm Julie Kilday from Kilday Baxter & Associates. Let us help manage your paperwork. It's what we do. We can be your accounting department, a portion of it, or just keep an eye on it for you. Call us to find out more. Kilday Baxter & Associates in Oglesby.
Hi, this is Jim Lukosius from Peru. I would like to take this opportunity to remind all of my friends in LaSalle to get to the polls on April 4th and cast your ballot for Gary Hammers for alderman. Gary has proven himself as a successful businessman, real estate developer, and community leader. Don't miss this opportunity to elect a proven leader. Vote Gary Hammers, alderman, April 4th.
I'm Gary Hammers. I paid for this ad. Help me be your voice for LaSalle. Vote April 4th.
This is where you go when you need to know. 1039 WLPO. Starved Rock News, Talk, and Classic Rock.
7:15, you can call or text 815-223-3093. First out of the gate, you may know his face from social media and his name and his voice from his appearance at a couple of city council meetings. Jamie Hicks has become an informal spokesperson for the neighborhood, I guess, in the aftermath of the fire. My question by the way, good morning, Mr. Hicks.
Morning, Rob.
Hey, thanks for being with us early this morning. My question was, first thing right out of the gate, how do you feel about your aldermanic representation? Now, are you in Ward 2 represented by Reynolds, or are you in the one north of that?
I'm in Ward 4.
You're in 4. Okay, so that's Jordan Crane.
Jordan Crane and James Cleary.
Okay, I've only had two conversations with Jordan Crane. I don't know Mr. Cleary at all, full disclosure. So how do you feel about your aldermanic representation of your ward in the aftermath of this fire?
Poorly, actually. Only 2 aldermen in the whole council had stood up for it. That would have been Bob Thompson and Jordan Crane to fight for more tests.
Well, you said Jordan Crane is your alderman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's definitely got my vote on that end. Bob Thompson is not my alderman. He is the first ward alderman, and they have not been affected.
They weren't affected like you were, right? My question was this. Now, the Carus chemical plant, as I look at the map, it is in Ward 2.
Correct.
That's Jerry Reynolds, who's been there for 100 years. Now, I have not heard word one from him advocating on behalf of the citizens of that ward. Have you?
No, not at all. He's been in there so long. It's like we're to the point where we need people that are going to stand with us and not against us, and fight with us and not fight against us. And that's what it seems like the whole most of the council is doing.
Yeah,
they're all blinded by Carus.
I was up in the night, and I thought to myself, okay, now why aren't we hearing from what I consider one of the most important wards in any city in Starved Rock country, and that is from north of Carus, up near Shooting Park, or what was that, 11th Street? What's the number in LaSalle? Up by the Veterans Home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the way down to the east side of First Street, which would be nice to get redeveloped, and a lot of that hinges on CL's investment in the on that corner. And there he is. He owns or he represents that ward. And I've not heard in 72 days, and I'm pretty plugged in, I've not heard one word out of him advocating for the citizens of that ward.
Not at all. And you won't. The whole system needs revamped here in LaSalle, obviously. So many things went wrong with that fire. So many laws that were broken and not being followed to protect us. The community.
Well, I know you're still on it, and environmentally, I think that's a smart thing. Whether it's testing or whether it's looking at soil samples, water, whatnot, property values, all that. But what I'm specifically referring to this morning is representation. That's why you elect people. You elect people to represent you. And when things are going smooth, everything's cool. No, you don't need any big help. But all of a sudden, something like this happens. You want some representation.
Correct, because that's what they're in there for. The aldermen are there to represent the citizens of that ward. They're our voice, and without their voice, we're pretty much nothing. And that's where the problem lies.
Okay.
Reynolds is not voicing his opinion. He has a few things to say, but it's all stand behind Carus. And I think Amy Luce would be, if I hope I'm saying her name right, would be a great. I think we need a woman in there to stir things up.
Well, there's another good point too. You got Oglesby. There isn't a woman running for anything, and that's tragic. You got the old boys club in LaSalle. There's not a woman at the city council meeting. In Peru too. It's all men. And so there's a woman that's a mayor in Spring Valley, but I just don't know much about. I've not met Amy Luth, but I think she's been involved in a school board in the past. But in any event, Jerry, I don't know how long Jerry Reynolds has been there, 100 years maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking to myself, that you, the citizens of that ward. And I'm an advocate for you too, but I don't represent you as a taxpayer.
Right.
That you deserve a voice, an advocate for all the repercussions of that fire.
Well, he wants to.
I appreciate your time today, Jamie. Thank you. 815-223-3093. Because there's high-profile races around. Oglesby got their turn in the center ring this week of the circus. The mayor's race, and there's aldermanic races, a bunch of men, right? Highly dramatic. And then there's a couple of them in LaSalle, too. A couple of races in